Even if it's on the outside rim, throw the bowl away. You can no longer use it for formulating because you don't want glass particles accidentally getting inside of your customer's product. And let's say they use it and they cut themselves, then that's a lawsuit on your hands. Hey y'all, welcome back to the Curl. My name is Janelle and I am the founder and KEO of KULTURED KURLZ LLC. Today I am back with another video. Today's video is going to be all about formulating essentials. If you are looking to start your own skincare, hair care, lip gloss line, you are going to need these formulating essentials. And even if you've already gotten started, these essentials are quick and they're easy and they're inexpensive, and you can definitely implement them into the essential list that you already have. Also, if you have not already, make sure that you go back and that you watch my business essentials video so that you get all your business essentials together before you click that launch button. So without further ado, I have my notebook so I do not get sidetracked and so I do not ramble or forget anything. Let's go ahead and get right into this video. Number one, safety equipment. You are going to need gloves, mask, hair nets. You're also going to need goggles, and you're going to need aprons so that you protect yourself. You do not want your bodily fluids or skin cells falling into your product. That's unsanitary and it's unsafe, not just for you and your business, but for your customers as well. You want to use a hair net so that your hair is tucked away so that hair doesn't fall into your products. You want to wear gloves so that if you have long nails like me, your nails don't get product stuck up under them, and so that the bacteria from up under your nails, whether you wash your hands or not, you don't want that bacteria getting in your product. You also want to make sure that your clothes are protected by an apron. And you also want to make sure that you have on goggles so that you protect your eyes from anything splashing into your eyes. Most importantly, you want to make sure that you have on a mask. A lot of us, we might be talking or chewing gum, or we might be working with someone else and we might be talking to them and we might accidentally get our saliva into the product. You don't want to sell that product to someone. You want to throw that batch away if that happens. So make sure you have all that safety equipment before you start formulating. Number two, glass bowls. Glass bowls are so important because they're a lot cleaner than plastic and metal bowls. Metal bowls, although they are clean, they can have reactions to whatever ingredients that you're formulating with. So you want to be careful using metal bowls, and you also want to research all your products and make sure that they don't have any type of reactivity to metal bowls or metal spoons. So always stick with glass. Also, plastic is very unsanitary. Let's say you're making your own skincare line, and let's say that you use turmeric in like a face mask that you use. Turmeric stains everything. You don't want to have a stained bowl being used with all of your other formulations. That's unsanitary. So make sure that you stick with glass. Also, inspect your glass bowls before and after each use. If you notice like a little hairline crack or a chip in your glass bowl, even if it's on the outside rim, throw the bowl away. You can no longer use it for formulating because you don't want glass particles accidentally getting inside of your customer's product. And let's say they use it and they cut themselves, then that's a lawsuit on your hands. So stay away from broken glass bowls. Number three, glass stirrers. Glass stirrers are important when you are mixing your products, especially if you're mixing them inside of your beakers. Glass stirrers are a lot more sanitary than plastic spoons, and they're a lot more safer than metal spoons because, again, you don't want your ingredients reacting to the metal. So always use a glass stirrer, and make sure that you're careful with your glass stirrers because they're very fragile. You don't want your glass stirrer to break or pieces of it to chip off, and then again we have the glass issue again where there's glass found in your customer's product. Number four, beakers. Beakers are going to be important for when you are measuring out your products. Beakers are also glass. So again, with the glass issue, you want to inspect your beakers before and after each use. If they are broken, throw them out. I'm going to list where I got my beakers from so that you can get a lot of them. Beakers come in different sizes, but you want to make sure that you have a couple different sets of beakers just in case one breaks. You can throw it out and you can replace it. Number 5, a stainless steel stock pot. Stock pots are going to be for when you want to melt your products. Let's say you have an oil phase and part of your oil phase needs to be heated up. You're going to want to use that stainless steel pot so that you have enough room to mix enough formula so that it can be melted down. And you also want to get a stainless steel stock pot that's durable but lightweight at the same time. Your formula is already going to be heavy, especially when it melts down. So you want to make sure that it's light but durable enough to maintain your formula, and so it's easy for you to lift as well. Number 6, a filler machine. Now, a filler machine has definitely come in handy for me, but it is optional. You do not have to get it right away. You can definitely find other alternatives to filling up your bottles and your jars. However, if you're working by yourself like me, then it'll cut time in half, and it'll also cut costs, because if you keep buying syringes, let's say you use syringes like I used to fill up your bottles and your jars, it definitely costs more money to throw away all of those syringes and then have to buy new ones. A filler machine is just one cost, and then you can keep reusing it as long as you clean it out. So definitely invest in a good filler machine that's automatic and that's manual. You buy whichever one works for you and your budget. Number 7, silicone spatulas. Now, silicone spatulas are nothing like plastic spoons. They are a lot more sanitary, especially if you buy food grade safe silicone spatulas. So I definitely say invest in them. They come in a variety of different colors and sizes. They will help you scoop out all of that product so that you do not waste any product. Number 8, an immersion blender. An immersion blender is great for mixing your products. If you do not have like a stand mixer or you don't have a hand mixer, then an immersion blender will help you blend your product the best. It definitely helps puree your formula. And so if you're looking for that smooth consistency, I would definitely say go with an immersion blender and make sure you get the proper wattage that you're going to need. For instance, I use it to blend my styler, and my styler is very thick. And so if I use a blender with low wattage, it'll burn out on me. So I made sure that I got a quality immersion blender that wasn't too expensive but wasn't cheap either, so that I could make sure that I have it to use over the years. So definitely price them out, invest in a good one so that you don't have to worry about one breaking on you and buying another one time and time again when they break. Number 9, scales. I make sure that I use 2 scales. I have a scale for shipping and then I have a scale for formulating. When I'm formulating, I want to make sure that I use a scale that has every single unit on there. So grams, ounces, pounds, whichever unit, milliliters, I make sure that I have that scale on hand when I'm formulating, so I get the exact amount of grams for each time I pour an ingredient. So make sure that you invest in a good scale. Also, it's important to keep 2 so that you don't have to worry about carrying one scale to one table to the next. Just make sure that you keep a scale for each table that you have. Number 10, pipettes. I use pipettes because sometimes I can't pour the exact amount out of the bottle, and then on top of that, it's not safe to really pour it because then you risk splashing or over pouring or spilling or getting something in your eye. So pipettes help me get the exact number that I need when I'm formulating. So for example, let's just say you need 5 ounces of jojoba oil for your order, and you can only get it to 4.5 while you're pouring. A pipette will come in handy because you'll be able to use that pipette to put into that jojoba oil bottle and then transfer it to your beaker. So with that being said, you want to make sure that you have a ton of pipettes because you don't want to keep reusing it, because that you risk cross-contamination when you do that. So Amazon has a pack of 100. I cannot remember the cost, but I'll definitely link it down below so that you can go ahead and you can stock up on pipettes because you're going to need a lot of them. Number 11, foil. Foil sounds like, why am I going to need foil? But foil is important when you are not using your formula at a specific time. For example, let's just say while I'm formulating, I have 3 separate phases, because I do. I have 3 separate phases that I work in. I work in my water phase, my oil phase, and my cool down phase. And let's say that my cool down phase has already been completed and it's off to the side, and I'm working on my oil phase now. I don't want my oil phase or my cool down phase to just be sitting out in the open so that particles and dust can get into it. So I'll use the foil to cover it up. It's safer than using a napkin to cover it it up, because your napkin can have lint or particles coming from it, and you don't want that getting into your product formula as well. So use foil to cover up your beakers when you're not using them. Number 12, markers. I use markers so that I can mark down what I'm doing as I'm going, or cross off what I'm doing when I'm finished with it. I also use it to timestamp my formulas after I'm done using them. So let's just say I have my oil phase sitting off to the side, or have my water phase sitting off to the side, and now I'm working on my cool down phase. I will mark what time I stopped working on each formula so that I can stay consistent and so I can stay on track, and so I do not waste too much time working on one phase. Number 13, Sterilize Tablets. Sterilize Tablets have come in a clutch for me, because I don't want to send off a product and the jar or the bottle is not sterile. You do not want to just order bottles and jars and then just package them with your product immediately after you buy them. What you want to do first to make sure that you are clean is you want to use the Sterilize tablets to soak all of your bottles and then set them off to the side and let them air dry before each use. So I'll also list this down in the description box below, because if you have not done it, if you've just been wiping them out, now it's time to start sterilizing them. So definitely you might want to implement that into your essential list. Number 14, bottles and jars. You are going to need bottles and jars to package your formula. And also, if you have your own lip gloss line, you're going to need tubes to put your formula into. So definitely make sure that you have bottles and jars. My biggest tip to you guys is to make sure that you stock up on bottles and jars so that you have them off to the side. Even if you're not using them, even if you're not filling them up right away, then you still need to keep them off to the side, because bottles and jars definitely go fast. And so you want to make sure that you have a large amount of inventory for them, so you don't have to worry about reordering them. It'll also save you money in the long time when you buy them in bulk. Number 15, cleaning supplies. Cleaning supplies are going to help you keep your space clean before and after each use. You make sure that you do this every single time you get ready to formulate, because you do not want to start formulating in an area that is unclean. Even if you formulated yesterday and you cleaned it after you were done, you still want to make sure that you clean your space before you start formulating the next day. Clean it right before you do it so that your area is clean. You also want to make sure that if you're working along with someone, that they understand that they need to keep the same level of cleanliness as well. You protect yourself and you protect your customers. Number 16, gallon buckets. Now, I know I said plastic was unsafe, but gallon buckets should be FDA compliant. You should buy food safe compliant storage for your products once you are done formulating, because there's an important part to your formulating process, which is called the emulsifying process. When you are done, you want to let your product sit for 24 hours at least to let the emulsifiers do their job. If you do not let your product sit, you risk making your product unstable and not sellable. So make sure that you buy these and make sure that they're FDA compliant. Also, make sure they come with an airtight lid, so while you're not using them or while you're not formulating, that there's no air bubbles to get in there, or nothing gets out, or that no dust gets in. Make sure that you buy a lid and the bucket. Number 17, a formula sheet. Whenever I am formulating, I always keep my formula sheet right next to me, and I always make sure that I rewrite it. Now, I have my formula sheet that is set in stone, that is not going to be touched. My oil, my serum, and my styler have their set formulas. However, whenever I start to formulate again, I rewrite on a new piece of paper just in case I might have spilled something on the last sheet. I always write out a new sheet and I work off of that. Yes, I remember my formula, but I don't want to risk making a mistake in pouring too much or not pouring enough. And so now my batch doesn't smell the same. It doesn't look the same. It doesn't feel the same. So I also want to make sure that I get the exact amount every single time. So always keep your formula sheet nearby so you can see it. Number 18, and this is the most important on the list. Patience. Patience is key while you are formulating. If you rush, you risk messing up. You risk making a mistake and therefore putting you and your customer at risk. You might pour too much, or you might not wait. As I mentioned earlier, you want to let the emulsifiers work in your product if you have to use emulsifiers. So emulsifiers are meant to combine ingredients that normally do not mix, such as oil and water. So let's just say you rush and you don't let your product sit for 24 hours after you're done formulating, and you pour it right into the filler machine, and then you mix it right into a bottle. You will come down the next day and you'll try to sell your product, and then you'll notice, why is there oil sitting on top, or why has my product separated? It's because you didn't allow the emulsifiers to do their job. You didn't allow the product to sit at room temperature. Also, you want to make sure that you have the time to make your product. If you're rushing and you're frustrated, you might not love what you're doing anymore. So I personally find formulating as a stress reliever, and so hopefully you find it that way too, but always make sure that you have enough time and patience and love to do what you are doing. Okay, so we're at the end of this video. I have given you guys 18 essentials that you're going to need to formulate. If I missed anything, I encourage you to leave a comment down below and share what you do in your business while you're formulating. We can all help each other. This is also where I ask you to do something for me. I need you to hit that like button, subscribe, and also make sure that you click that bell so that you get notified every single time I post on this channel. I'll be seeing you guys real soon. Thank you. Bye, y'all.